Listed below are the heights in centimeters of winning presidential candidates and their main opponents from several recent presidential elections. Find the regression equation, letting the president be the predictor X variable. Find the best predicted height of an opponent given that the president had a height of 177 centimeters. How close is the result to the actual opponent's height of 183 centimeters? So we have the president's, which would be our X variable, and we have the opponent's height, which would be our Y variable. And we're asked to find the equation of the regression line. So let's go ahead and use StatCrunch. So we have the president and we have the opponent. We're going to go on stat, regression, simple, linear. The X variable is the president, the Y variable is the opponent. From there, we can get our regression line that has a negative slope. So we're asked to round the y-intercept to the nearest integer. So it's going to be 196. And we're asked to round the slope to 3 decimal places. So it's going to be negative 0.096. Next, the best predicted height of an opponent, given that the president had a height of 177 centimeters. So first, we have to check to see if there's a linear correlation between the two variables. So let's go back to hypothesis test for correlation. Remember, N is the number of pairs in a sample. R is a linear correlation coefficient for a sample. And rho is a linear correlation coefficient for a population. And that's what we use to set up our hypotheses. So for the null, we say that rho is 0, which means that there is no linear correlation. And for the alternate, we say rho is not 0, which means that there is a linear correlation. So using our p-value, we can decide to reject or not reject our null hypotheses. So since our p-value is large, it's 0.7998, which is greater than significance level of 0.05, then that means we don't reject the null hypotheses. So if we're not rejecting the null hypotheses, that means you're going with the null. Therefore, you don't have enough evidence to support the alternate hypotheses that says there's a linear correlation. So the linear correlation coefficient doesn't indicate a linear correlation between the two variables because our p-value is greater than significance level. So the regression equation is not a good model for predicting values of y, and the best predicted value is equal to the mean of the opponent's height. So we won't be able to use the regression line to make prediction because we just showed that there is no linear correlation between the two variables. So the best predicted height for the opponent would be to find the mean. So you can either do this using a calculator or you can use StatCrunch to do this. We can open it in StatCrunch and we can find the mean of the opponent. So we can go on stat, summary stat, columns, and you can select the opponent, compute. So the mean is 178.88. And we need to round this to 1 decimal, so 178.9. So how close is this to the actual result of 183? This is more than, or this is within 5 centimeters of the actual height of 183.